Welcome back to the show. The big story right now, or one of them, is this battle of gerrymandering. Trump called up Texas, nervous about the midterm, just for quick context, and said, find me 11,780 votes, find me 5 seats, right? And Greg Abbott complied. And now Democrats are trying to stop it by fleeing the state in the Texas state legislature. But it looks like there's a very good chance Texas will get their excessively gerrymandered map mid-decade through to artificially create, people are calling it trying to rig the game, 5 extra Republican congressional seats, not because of more votes, but just how they're drawing those lines. And so often my criticism for Democrats has been you allow yourself to play with a different playbook than Republicans. And you go, well, we have all of these principles that we have to abide by, and that's great until you just keep getting pounded over and over and over. So Newsom is saying, I'm done being pounded and I'm going to do the pounding. And that's what we have here, which is he is charging forward with his own plan to counteract the effects of Texas and maybe even more than that.
We are moving forward. Make no mistake. California is moving forward as a state that's larger than 21 state populations combined. We are not a small, isolated state. State larger than 21 populations combined. We tried to play by a higher set of standards and rules with our independent redistricting, and we believe in that. And we are not talking about eliminating that commission. We are talking about emergency measures to respond to what's happening in Texas, and we will nullify what happens in Texas. We will pick up 5 seats with the consent of the people, and that's the difference between the approach we're taking and the approach they're taking. We're doing it on a temporary basis. We're doing it in a fully transparent way, and we're doing it by asking the people of the state of California for their consent and support. Mark that stark contrast to what's happening in Texas and other states.
So what he means is they're going to put this up for a vote. Governor Gavin Newsom said Friday, The Hill reports, they were moving forward with plans to hold a special election in November for voters to approve a ballot measure that would ultimately allow Democrats to pass a new House map ahead of 2026. So they're going to do a direct ballot initiative allowing California voters to vote on this, and then they would redraw their lines to counteract the effects of Texas. Then will other Republican states jump in? There is a clock running down here. They can only play these games so long until we're in the midterm season and it's too late. But this is exactly what Democrats should be doing. If they're going to artificially create more Republican seats, you're going to have to do it on the other end. And then ultimately get enough power to stop this at the federal level. Here's another Newsom clip.
Now he's dialing up for seats. He called Greg Abbott, who doesn't have the courage, doesn't have the backbone, doesn't have the consciousness of the consequences of his action. And he has rolled over and he said, yes, sir, and they're trying to dial now for new seats for precisely the reason that Speaker Pelosi and others have represented. They will lose in the midterms. He knows it. Why else would he make that phone call? His agenda is failing. This presidency is failing.
So one of the reasons this is so important is we have a critical juncture here. Obviously, the ultimate victory and chance for power to become policy in a meaningful way, not just to counteract what Trump has been doing, but then to make actual progress if we get the right leaders from the Democratic Party into power, not just your milquetoast Democrats, is ultimately a different president, different Congress, and you really start making strides. But that's really far in the future. And so you might forget this if you've just lived through the last few months, but we actually have a Congress, shockingly, on the federal level that can do stuff. It actually has a lot of authority to rein in the power of the president. The current Republican Congress has no interest in that. And so if Democrats made a strong showing in the midterms, it could halt the damage Trump is doing in a lot of meaningful ways. Gavin Newsom captioned that Greg Abbott is nothing more than Donald Trump's lapdog. And then Ted Cruz entered. No, wait, that's not. I'm not barfing at that. Ted Cruz entered the chat. I knew I was going to say that from the beginning of the segment. Wow, that was brutal. That's the most brutal since Sussy Wussy came out last time. Ted Cruz said, I assume about Newsom going, yeah, come look for the Texas state Democrats in California, because I guess they're not there. So he's like, yeah, federal authorities, come look here. And Ted Cruz says, I assume they're having dinner with you at the French Laundry. Now that goes back to the COVID era controversy with Gavin Newsom, where while there was lockdowns, he went and had dinner at the French Laundry and got, understandably, backlash for it. Now there's a difference though between Newsom and Ted, I'll get to, but in response to that, politics has just become social media shitposting, by the way. So now you have a senator from Texas and the governor of California just pew, pew, pew. And Newsom responded to that Ted Cruz statement saying, to be fair, he knows a lot about fleeing. And it is Ted Cruz on his way to Cancun during the power outages whenever Texans were suffering, and he wanted a little trip because it was too cold. Now, should Newsom have done the French Laundry thing? No. Correct. But every time he gets asked about it, he says, I totally messed up. It was wrong. I don't have an excuse. At least that's what he said on the Sean Ryan show. Whereas Ted Cruz, you might remember when he fled to Cancun, literally blamed his daughters. As we continue through this, please do click the subscribe button. If you appreciate the show, I would appreciate you greatly.
That because I think that is an investigation that needs to happen.
Last question.
Senator Cruz, a lot of people are calling your decision to go to Cancun during this time tone deaf. Did you come back because you felt guilty, or did you come back because you got caught and there was a lot of backlash for you going?
So the question from the video on the cell phone was whether the decision to go was tone deaf. Look, it was obviously a mistake, and in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to be a dad, and all of us have made decisions. When you've got two girls who have been cold for two days and haven't had heater power, and they're saying, hey, look, we don't have school, why don't we go, let's get out of here. I think there are a lot of parents that'd be like, all right, if I can do this, great. That's what I wanted to do. As I said, really from...
Yeah, so I guess he said it was a mistake. All right, Ted. But I loved that. And the story, if you went around back then in the political world, it kept shifting. And he left and they came back and they were my daughters, and like texts leaked that revealed he was kind of lying about some of the aspects of it. But then you have Pritzker also enter the chat, saying Trump is a cheater. He cheated on his wives. He cheats at golf. And now he's trying to cheat in the election.
This big ugly bill. It's hyper unpopular in Texas, among people in Texas and across the country. And he knows he's going to lose the Congress in 2026. That's why he's going to his allies and hoping that they can save him. And we've all got to stand up against this. It's cheating. Donald Trump is a cheater. He cheats on his wives. He cheats at golf. And now he's trying to cheat the American people out of their votes.
Well, you know, when Trump was cheating on Melania with Stormy, and he says, you know, spank me with a magazine with my face on it. And he says, say, I am the Donald. You are the Donald. We are the Donald. Say that. Do you think he was caring about democracy? No. And similarly, he's not caring about democracy here. When he was in bed with a supermodel, you really think about this. Pritzker. Think about this. When he was in bed with a supermodel and he was saying, I want you to be as orange as I am by rubbing it off of me by the end of tonight. And saying, do you think he was caring about democracy? Similarly, he's not caring about democracy here. He's a cheater. He's a cheater. When he was saying, put these golf balls in my mouth, ma'am, as his wife was at home with their kids. As he was saying, strike me with my putter, after he had just cheated at golf. Do you think he was concerned with our democracy? And similarly, he's not concerned with our democracy here. I like that argument from Jane just put up fun of Trump when he was a little younger. Can you imagine, by the way, Trump's whole shtick throughout his celebrity era before getting into politics was like, I'm the real estate guy and I go on shows and I'm a ladies' man, right? And he'll go on Howard Stern talking about I have no age limit. Well, I guess if they're 12, okay, that's a problem. But I could sleep with whoever I want. I get rich carries a lot of weight for people, but he was never very attractive. It's kind of strange that regardless, but I do like that just as a side, being like, hey, he's a cheater. He cheated in the 2020 election. He wants to cheat in a sense, not in the same way, not trying to reverse the results based on the counting of the votes, which was particularly sinister, but by playing with the numbers. He wants to cheat in this election, and listen, he cheated on his wife. It's like total little side shot. It's brilliant. Love it. Then I saw a lot of right-wing accounts were not happy about this clip of Beto O'Rourke, who was campaigning and had this to say.
They're not going to let him stop us. Are you with me on that? Ándale. It also means, as Mark was saying earlier, we don't await the punch thrown by these would-be fascists to land. We punch first and we punch harder. We want California and New Jersey and Illinois and Maryland and every other state where the Democrats hold the governor's mansion, the assembly, and the state senate to redraw their congressional districts now, not wait for Texas to move first, to maximize Democratic Party advantage. Listen, you may say to yourself, well, those aren't the rules. There are no refs in this game. Fuck the rules. We are going to win whatever it takes. We're going to take this to them in every way that we can.
Whoa. I see why the right wing was upset with that. Yeah, I don't know what got into the Democratic waters. They're all of a sudden just unleashed. It's good. I mean, y'all know I don't condone, as for the sake of Scott Jennings, in case his kids are ever watching the show, like he was upset with.
Because when you own as many libs as I do, you got to put a place to put them all.
We don't want potty language ever. That's a huge concern. I get it. I get it. Growing up, as I explained, I think on a bonus show recently, and I still struggle to say a different word. We said toot. We said toot. Think about going to school. You're in high school. And you go, oh, did someone toot? Think about what happens to your social life when you say that. So I get it, man. Let's just no potty language. But I love the spirit. It's good. Finally, yeah. F the rules. Woo! Because for so long we've been restricted. Now there are certain lines you don't cross, but hey, if we're doing gerrymander, let's gerrymander. If the ultimate goal is to ban partisan gerrymandering nationwide, like Democrats tried to do, Republicans blocked them before. Someone did come up at this Beto O'Rourke event and ripped up his sign and was protesting. And some of these protesting videos they're so obviously... I just saw someone get kicked out of some stadium because they have a no political slogan, like hats and stuff, merch rule. And in this world of everything has to be a social media video, watching people so pumped to be kicked out is really cringe.
Beto.
To despair. Just look at
Beto, you almost killed multiple people while driving under the
just look at this unfortunate soul.
A few moments later.
Hold up, Sophie. Hold on.
Stop. I'm not
You're getting
you.
recorded.
I'm not fighting you.
Hold on.
And then she records herself proudly walking. It's like, that didn't really accomplish much. No one could hear what you were saying, unfortunately. So that happened. And then speaking of Scott Jennings, he was on CNN saying, well, no, it's the Democrats who are doing the gerrymandering. We're just doing gerrymandering in self-defense.
Not accurate in these the governors of these blue states that seem to be most upset about this are the ones that have the most gerrymandered states already. I saw the governor of Massachusetts saying she might have to redraw her maps. It's already 9-0 in Massachusetts. And so you said actions and reactions. I'll just submit that the first action wasn't Texas. The first action was all these myriad blue states over the years.
Okay, hang on.
So you'll keep hearing this. And then, like so many things in politics, people will go, you're right. I don't know. Was it this way? Chicken or the egg, right? Was it this way or that way? I guess this is just politics. But the cool thing is there are actually facts that you can find as to, wait, which was it, the chicken or the egg? Well, on that one, I don't know. Was there Adam chicken and Eve chicken? I haven't figured that one out. But on the gerrymandering, there is a clear answer to that question. And it's not which party originally gerrymandered. Like, of course, the people are always going to try to draw the lines in an advantageous way. But there are two key points. Number one, and they'll put up a map here in a second, you can find out which states are the worst and the net effect of the legal gerrymandering that goes on, right? And so if we banned it nationwide, would Republicans benefit or Democrats? If we had independent commissions deciding all and not being in a partisan way, congressional maps. And as we went through the numbers before, it would benefit Democrats because a better represented Congress would lead to more Democratic seats, because Republicans right now are benefiting. Even if Democrat states also do it, they don't do it to the degree collectively that Republicans do. That's point one. Point two is what I referenced before. In 2021, right when Biden got into office, they proposed a ban nationwide on partisan gerrymandering that inherently wouldn't benefit Democrats or Republicans. It would just be more fair, and Republicans opposed it. Scott will be fact-checked on that here.
On that note, I want to bring this map up. This is the redistricting report card from Princeton University's gerrymandering project. And you'll see on there, green is good, and then we go down, A all the way down to D. Look, California, better than average with bias. New York State, another blue state, gets a good. So does Massachusetts, I believe. It's a tiny map from here.
It's literally 9-0. There's not a single Republican.
But I'm not the gerrymandering project. I'm just telling you what it says.
I imagine Princeton believes that 9-0 is good. I agree with it.
South Carolina, Texas, Florida. What kind of states are those, Scott?
Florida and Texas and Ohio are far more equitable.
No, they were red on that map.
I don't care what Princeton. You all are assuming I give a rip what these people think.
Bingo.
I'm just telling you what's gerrymandered and what isn't.
So Scott knows better than actual assessments of which states do it worse and better. And again, let's say that a bunch of Democratic states did what Newsom's doing, and maybe Pritzker, and said, we're going to go totally wacky and just do whatever we can to counteract Texas and to benefit ourselves in the midterms, and then use that power to get rid of this altogether so that we had better representation. Great. So that debate actually, I don't think is as core as the second point I made previously, but he's also wrong about the facts. I mean, you can see the map again. Red, worse, yellow, middle, green, good. And you can see it's right there. But he says, I don't care. Yells woke and liberal. Who cares?